All right, here's some information that you need to know as you prepare to plan for year 2 in the graduate sport management program. All right, so fall 24, this is the next semester you're going to be registering for classes. There are 2 required classes you'll see here, KNR 467 and KNR 453. These are required, no negotiation, so definitely make sure you're registering for both of those classes. Those are locked in sections with locked in dates and times. And then you do have one elective option for fall 24, so you get to pick which class fills this elective option. Here's some recommendations based on what we know is going to be offering across KNR. Any of these would be a great option for a sport management student. Keep in mind you can also consider other graduate course options across the university. It just has to be a 400 level graduate course. The instructor has to be willing to admit you, and your advisor has to approve of its relevance to your degree. So I would go to ISU Course Finder and just explore some of the course titles here as well as other options that might be available to you and make a decision about what you think the best fit is based on your interests and your schedule. All right, so that's fall 24. Spring 25 will be the next semester that you're planning for, and this is your last semester in the program. So there's a lot more flexibility here than there has been for any other semester that you've had. So essentially there are 2 pathways you can go as a grad student in our program. You can go the thesis route by choosing to write and complete a thesis. That will take care of your 6 remaining credits. One thing to keep in mind, if you do want to go the thesis route, that process typically needs to start this spring or even summer. So keep in mind if the thesis route is one you're interested in, I would be talking to your advisor now about that and making sure that you start to make a plan for how you would put together a plan for a thesis. Or the more common route for our students historically has been the practical route. And this is essentially you can put together a handful of credits or experiences to make up those final 6 credits. And that can be any combination of a practicum where you're getting some hands-on experience in the sport industry, an independent study where maybe you're working with a faculty member on a research project or doing some kind of skill development, or an elective course. So I'll talk you through the combination options here in a moment. But before I do that, just quickly, again, if you're thinking the thesis route might be of interest to you, essentially what you'd be doing is putting together a committee, proposing a research idea, and then actually collecting that data and putting together a written thesis report. Again, this one will require a little bit more pre-planning, so if you're thinking this might be an option for you, I would let your advisor know soon so that y'all can start to put a tentative plan together. All right, so again, the more practical route, these are the combinations or potential combinations for you. So keep in mind, one of your requirements within this program is that 3 of your final credit hours in the program have to be designated as what we call culminating experience. So this typically has been a practicum, so some kind of hands-on experience in the field, or in some cases an independent study if it's deemed rigorous enough. So that means you have to have one of those 2 things as part of your last or final 6 credits in the program, either a practicum experience or an independent study. That's why those things are starred. An elective class cannot be counted as a culminating experience. So keep in mind, as you put together a potential plan or a tentative plan for spring 25, you need to be thinking about either a practicum or independent study at minimum to fulfill 3 of those hours. Now, the additional 3 hours could be an elective course, that's fine. But that elective course cannot count as your culminating experience. So I would really, as you're meeting with your advisors this spring, really be thinking about what this culminating experience is going to look like for you. Again, that could be a hands-on work experience you're getting within the sport industry, kind of like an internship, or it could be an independent study. Let me give you some examples of some independent studies you might complete. So I mentioned before, like doing a research project with a faculty member could count as an independent study. Maybe you're working on a component of a research project one of our faculty members is doing. Maybe you're writing a literature review, or you're working on data collection procedures, these sorts of things. Another option that we've had in the past is some kind of skill development independent study. So maybe you've determined there's a specific skill set you need to develop or add to your resume. So best example I could give is like the Adobe Suite. So you design an independent study that would allow you to develop that skill over the course of this semester. Now there is a worksheet that you would need to fill out to apply for an independent study. It's not just something you can automatically do. You would have to make your case for why this counts as something that's rigorous enough to be counted as an independent study. We do have some program-specific independent studies that you might consider. So an RA, research assistant, if you wanted to work closely with a faculty member on a research project, you could do that. On the other end of that, if you wanted to gain some teaching experience, you could be a TA in one of our classes. Again, that would be something where you request to work with a faculty member and identify a class that works well for them. In the past, we've had some independent study students do some of our event coordinating behind the scenes, so helping to coordinate our fall immersion trip or helping with some of our spring events that are more career focused. That's a great opportunity for someone who wants to get more event planning experience. Content creation. We've had folks in the past work on our social media content, newsletter development, that kind of thing. So that could be a good option if you're someone who is more on the content development side of things. If you are interested in applying, especially for these last two, event coordinator or content creation independent studies, send me just a brief paragraph of why that might be of interest to you, and then we can go from there, because generally we have a limited number of those types of positions. Okay, a couple other things just to be aware of as you're planning for year two. If you choose to do credits over the summer, which is not required, but if you choose to do some credits over the summer, this will leave you with only 3 credits in the spring, and that could have an impact on your student loan repayment. So just keep that in mind in terms of your student status. Excuse me. There are some ways around that, like we could add another class, but just keep in mind that if you choose to do, let's say, practicum over the summer, you want to get some experience and knock that practicum out, that's fine. Just keep in mind that might open you up to earlier student loan repayment. Also, keep in mind it's okay to do 3 credits in the summer. Technically, you can still maintain your GA waiver in that final semester because you get one-time waiver for less than 9 credits. And so whether it's 6 or 3, it doesn't matter to them. You'll have that waiver. So it's fine to take credits in the summer. I would say historically, we don't offer any classes, any sport management classes in the summer other than the practicum class. So if you did want to take or complete the practicum over the summer, say you have an experience back home or you just have more time with your schedule, that's fine. I would just be talking to your advisor about those options and what that looks like for your schedule, long-term planning. And then if you do want to pursue a summer practicum, make sure to reach out to me because I'll be overseeing those this summer and I can let you know what that would look like and how you would get registered. Okay, so that's all the info I have for this group for year 2 planning. If you haven't already done so, make sure you're signing up for an individual meeting with your advisor, and then make sure that you're reviewing that second year course plan document and sending it to your advisor prior to your meeting. All right, thanks. Have a great one.